everyone. I'm Reagan. Thank you for joining us on the News Brief Now from NRN. Today is Monday, December 23rd, 2019, and just days away from Christmas. But I'm not here to bring you joy and all that good stuff yet, just the top stories in the news. So the research by the Center for Immigration Studies found that yearly legal and illegal immigration to the U.S. will redistribute political power from several red states toward hugely populated blue states like California and New York. This is going to happen up for the new upcoming election. On average, 1.2 million people come to the United States every year from other countries, and since congressional districts are not set by the number of legal citizens, areas with less mass migration will get fewer congressional seats in 2020. The seats cut from those mostly red states will be redistributed to California, the most immigration-inundated state in the country. By 2020, California is actually set to gain 11 more seats solely based on the fact that non-citizens are counted in congressional apportionment. Likewise, in New York, where nearly 40% of residents are foreign-born, Texas, which has become increasingly blue because of immigration, and Florida, all three of those will gain 4 more congressional seats because of those reasons. If congressional districts were set by number of legal citizens, then the overall average population needed per congressional seat could decrease to about 670,000 citizens per district. This would give a stronger advantage for states with small illegal alien populations to gain and keep their current number of congressional seats. The research also came to find how overall immigration aids in shifting the power to Democrats and to metropolitan areas and big cities like Los Angeles and New York City in the upcoming election. And by that time, 1 in 10 U.S. voters will have been born outside the country. University of Maryland College Park researcher James Gimpill found in recent years that more immigrants to the U.S. inevitably means more Democratic voters, and thus increasing the electoral victories for the Democrat Party. In other news, according to multiple reports, Saudi Arabia has sentenced 5 people to death in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. If you remember, he was the journalist who was murdered in Istanbul at the Saudi Arabian consulate. Also, 3 others were given a total of 24 years in prison for covering up that crime and violating other laws. Now, the names of those men has not yet been released, but we do know that the top aide of the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince was not tried because there was a lack of evidence. This is contrary to what was found last November by our very own CIA, who concluded that the Crown Prince had actually ordered the killing of Khashoggi. Also last June, a UN Special Rapporteur, Agnes Callamard, released a 101-page report that supposedly cited credible evidence of Saudi Arabia's responsibility for the killing and also recommended an investigation into its Crown Prince. Also in the news, the CEO of Boeing, Dennis Muilenburg, resigned on Monday after crises with Boeing's MAX 737 jetliner and 2 crashes, killing 346 people in all. The company's board said leadership change was necessary to regain the confidence from its consumers. The MAX was grounded worldwide after 2 disasters happened, one in October of 2018 off the coast of Indonesia and the other in 2019 in Ethiopia. Boeing had come under very big criticism on Capitol Hill and elsewhere because of the design and rollout of the aircraft had been unable to get approval from regulators to put the plane back in the air. Investigators say that in both of those crashes, a faulty sensor caused the plane's automatic MCAS flight control system to push the nose of the plane down, and the pilots were unable to regain control. Those crashes and the decisions that were made leading up to those tragedies have shaken Boeing. The company appears to have known about the safety issues for some time, indicating there may have been more of a fundamental issue with the company. And in other news, on Monday, China denied allegations that prisoners were being used for forced labor. This after a British newspaper reported that a London schoolgirl found a message in a Christmas card claiming to be one of the inmates at Shanghai's Qingpu prison. And the supermarket giant Tesco immediately stopped its production at a factory in China after it had heard one of its cards was found to contain a cry for help from a prisoner who made it. This according to the Sunday Times newspaper. Now, Beijing completely denies this, that any Shanghai Qingpu prison doesn't actually enforce labor by foreign convicts, and said that the whole story was just made up. The story was written by journalist Peter Humphrey, who he himself was detained in Qingpu prison in up until 2015. The note that was written in the card asked the reader who found it to contact Humphrey, in which the schoolgirl who received the card did reach out to him, which is what prompted him to write the story in the Sunday Times. The message read, quote, "Forced to work against our will, please help us and notify human rights organization." And also in the news, in a recent study done by Wesleyan Media Project, we find that the Trump campaign understands something about impeachment. An understanding that everyday Americans have, but that House Democrats do not. And what did that study show? That between January 5th and December 14th of 2019, 99% of the Trump campaign's TV advertisements this year talked about impeachment. That's 4,594 ads to date, spending a whopping $4.4 million. Now here's the part that the left just doesn't understand. The Trump campaign embraced the stain of impeachment and has raised quite a bit of money off of it. Contrary to what they seem to believe, it isn't the president who's stained by impeachment proceedings. It's the ones who are engaging in the brazenly partisan effort to remove him from office. And support for impeachment is and continues to drop, so why wouldn't the campaign use the Democrats' favorite weapon against them? They've even managed several no votes on impeachment from the Democrats, one present vote, and even flipped one of the Democrats to the Republican side. It really makes a person wonder how the Democrats can stay clueless for so long. If this is their game plan and their end game, it's doing more damage to its own party than to the president. So they really need to get their stuff together if they're going to make any kind of point at all. For more breaking news and opinion, be sure to check out www.newrightnetwork.com. Don't forget to take a peek at our Right Now podcast as well, which brings you insight from some of the most fascinating people in society today, making a difference. You can also follow NRN on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm Reagan, and this has been your news brief now on NRN. Have a wonderful rest of your day.